We're here at the end of 2025. 2026 is coming up. We have midterms. What's your read on that, and what's at stake if we lose the majority?
Well, first of all, in politics, a week is a lifetime. So anybody who's already ready to concede the 2026 elections doesn't understand American politics and how volatile it is. I think several things have to happen. The president has certainly laid the groundwork for even greater economic prosperity, low taxes, regulatory cuts, tariff negotiations, increasing federal revenues dramatically. Once we no longer have a politicized Federal Reserve Board, and once we get an interest rate cut commensurate with the inflation rate and the unemployment rate, which they did for Joe Biden when those rates were not as good as they are today, but to try to help him in the election, but have refused to do so for Trump. That has held us back some, but we will get an interest rate cut when there's a Trump majority on the Federal Reserve. So I think the economy is still going to be the major driver for the election. I do think those who elected Donald Trump expect to see accountability and justice when it comes to those criminals who ran a seditious conspiracy that starts with the Russian collusion hoax, takes us through 2 phony impeachments, the irregularities around the 2020 elections, about which I think we're about to learn a great deal more. Just learned a lot about it in Fulton County, Georgia yesterday, all the way to the January 6th fiasco and the raid on Mar-a-Lago. That is one continuing seditious conspiracy, and the American people, and our supporters particularly, expect accountability and justice. Be clear, it's not about revenge, it's not about retaliation. These people broke the law, and they violated the Constitution, and I think our voters expect them to be held responsible.
So do you see maybe when Trump's policies start going into effect, the economy coming back? I know we have some relief from inflation right now, but people are still feeling the effects of it and dealing with it. Do you think that we're going to see the economy kind of turn around in 2026 ahead of the midterms?
Well, I mean, I think we have to be candid. Food prices are already down, but they're not down as low as they were the last year of his first term as president. But they will be. Gas prices are coming down very quickly. They will soon be as low or lower than they were during his first term as president. Again, we talked about the need for the interest rate cut, which I think will boost the housing market very substantially. So I think the economy is going to get substantially stronger. If we are going to go to war or have a conflict, a direct military conflict with Venezuela, I think the American people need to understand that this is not about regime change. It is about stopping a criminal enterprise that is importing hundreds of millions of dollars of dangerous drugs, both fentanyl and cocaine, from Venezuela through Honduras into the United States. The president is acting to defend this country from that scourge, and I think on that basis, this fight is well worth it.
Yeah, because the numbers, I mean, from just fentanyl and drugs being poured into this country, I mean, that is kind of war being declared on us. You know, there's 70,000 people a year from drug deaths.
Well, the good news is, of course, he has sealed our southern border. Illegal border crossings are virtually non-existent. Remember, Joe Biden said he needed a new law to do that. He didn't need a new law. He just needed to enforce existing law. So that's a step in the right direction. But how many dangerous illegals and what kind of enemies, what kind of weapons did they bring into the country? I think these are important questions. So, and then the last spoke of this, none of it will matter unless we have fair, honest elections. And as you know, Tulsi Gabbard is heading a task force to examine the security, integrity of the voting machines. I'm looking forward to that report. There are a number of credible reports that it can be proven that there's both Venezuelan and Chinese interference in our elections. We have to have honest elections. The greatest policies in the world will not save our country if we don't have honest elections.
Segueing to Charlie Kirk, This is the first America Fest that we are at where he's not present. He's always been a coalition builder, being able to bring conservatives together that may not always agree with one another. And with him gone, it seems like there's been a lot of infighting within the movement itself. I don't know if you've seen from on stage, there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of pointing fingers. What is your read on that?
I think it is largely inside baseball. I went to a grocery store last night. I talked to 10 different people. They all told me they were registered voters. They all told me they voted in 2026. Not a single one of them knew who Candace Owens was. Not a single one of them knew who Ben Shapiro was. A few of them knew who Tucker Carlson was, and they liked him. Every one of them knew who Charlie Kirk was. Interesting. So I think a lot of it's inside baseball. You want to know who the leader of the conservative movement in America is? His name is Trump, Donald J. Trump. And the second in command is J.D. Vance. The rest of it's all background noise.
When Charlie was assassinated, we saw ghoulish response from the left celebrating. It was a very eye-opening watershed moment where kind of just the left just ripped the mask off. And when I say the left, I mean regular people that you would see, there's people that work in healthcare, people that work in schools, teaching people's children. Just the other day in Target, someone's harassed for wearing a Charlie Kirk shirt in Target. What do you make of that when you realize that you're living in a society where like the regular person at the grocery store would maybe celebrate if they realized that you were murdered over having a different political view?
It's really not surprising. It's the manifestation of a corrupted mainstream media. These people are not journalists, they're propagandists. So when you tell people that someone is a Nazi, a Klansman, a white supremacist, a bigot, none of which is true, but you repeat it enough times, you can understand why some people would believe that. So I think the mainstream media, which is still dying in its influence, is responsible, I think, largely for the deep divisions in the country and some of the more vicious things that were said at the time of Charlie's murder.
If someone who was very prominent on the left was assassinated, I feel like we would see a major reaction from Democrats. There would be a major crackdown, they'd be knocking down doors. It feels like Republicans, maybe we don't act in the same way, and we get easily distracted. What's your take on that?
What I would hate to see is any excuse for censorship. I'm absolutely opposed to censorship. I think leftists should be allowed to say the most vile and disgusting things they want. What I don't like is the idea that in Charlie's name, certain voices should be censored. I don't think that's what he would have wanted, certainly not what I want.
Do you think we should hold them more? I mean, I know like we can't violate First Amendment rights, but on the right, it seems like do you think there's a problem with maybe that we're not taking it as seriously anymore when we're being accused of being Nazi or racist or all that kind of stuff? Like 10 years ago, we would have reacted very seriously to an allegation like that. But as time has gone on, it's kind of the words have been watered down into meaningless. But the left still uses them, and we kind of just like laugh it off because we all know it's not true. But we don't say anything about it. We don't push back on it. We laugh it off. But then still, a deranged lunatic will believe that stuff is true and pick up a gun and start firing. We saw 2 assassination attempts on Trump. The same rhetoric spewed in his direction. Charlie lost his life 3 months ago. Should we be taking this, without violating any kind of law, the First Amendment, as a movement, do you believe we should be taking this more seriously when we're being accused of things that we know we're not and, be done laughing it off?
Well, one thing's clear. Anytime you're in an argument with someone and they call you a Nazi, it means they're losing the argument. Mm-hmm. Secondarily, we may not realize this, but words that we think are charged are not. So when you told New York voters that Zoran Mamdani was a socialist, that didn't bother them because they don't know what socialism is because they no longer teach it in the schools. So I don't think, unfortunately, due to the fact that we have mass media, due to the fact that we have the internet, I don't see that being lessened. But name-calling never elected anybody. Name-calling never defeated anybody. I'm afraid to say fact of life. It's amazing the number of people who attack me based on all kinds of crazy assumptions. Why don't you shut up, Jew? I'm a Roman Catholic. What are you talking about? I don't like that kind of. I don't like that kind of bigotry.
Yeah, it's gotten out of control. So do you think Kash Patel is knocking down enough doors?
Those are two different questions. I think Kash is doing a very good job of fighting terrorists. I think he's doing a good job of fighting child sex trafficking. The question really is Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Rice, Biden, Weissman, Rosenstein, and on and on and on. When are these people being charged? It's been many months since Tulsi Gabbard declassified the documents that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt these people engaged in an extra-constitutional, illegal coup d'etat. When are their indictments? Didn't take them long to indict me on trumped-up charges. Didn't take them long to charge General Flynn. Didn't take them long to charge Donald Trump in a New York courtroom. So when will this happen? It's very, very hard to say. I'll give you one other example. It is now absolutely clear that Governor Tim Walz knew about and covered up the theft of billions of dollars of federal funds. That's a crime. When is he being arrested?